Hey, what's going on, Mike?
How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. I'm doing better than Eric's doing right now. So just to inform everybody, Eric's got computer issues. I don't think he's going to make it.
Oh man.
So we're going to be one man. Wait, we were going to be one man down, but guess what?
What's going on, dude?
I'm bringing somebody in.
Oh,
we're going to have a third
relief pitcher.
That's right. Today's relief pitcher.
Bring
Ty Brannaman, everybody. Ty Brannaman. That's what I'm talking about.
Hello, everybody.
Bringing in the big guns.
How's it going, bro?
Oh, it's going fantastic. Thanks for having me on. Now with the cool kid.
Thanks for coming, bro.
Yeah, thanks, Ty. Thanks for popping in, man. Thanks for taking Eric's spot. Maybe Eric will phone in for fun. We'll see what happens. Maybe we'll need to phone a friend.
There we go.
Phone a friend.
All right. So look, I got to kick this off. To basically, everybody's wondering, where did this topic come from? So how do I get started in HVAC? So about a week and a half ago, someone I know, a business acquaintance, calls me, and he's not in HVAC, but he's closely related to the trade. And I've done some tech support phone calls to this gentleman, and he's smart. And he's like, man, I want to get into HVAC. And I said, oh, yeah? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, Chris, you're pretty sharp. Where do I start? And I was like, like I haven't been asked that question in a very long time, and it's like, man, this guy's got some skills already. He understands conceptually what's going on. He's already doing some, just to point it out there, he's already knows how to do duct leakage testing, blower door testing, total system airflow testing, non-invasive checking, right? He knows all that. He just doesn't know how to do the refrigerant side, doesn't know superheat subcool, stuff like that. And I had to take a really long pause, and I told him, I said, you know what? I'm going to get back to you on that because I can't give you a 100% confident answer right now. I said, I'm not sure.
That's a really good, that's a good way to approach it, man. Let me get back. I mean, yeah, that was really cool. You asked the question, what has he got under his toolbox already, So I'm sure Ty gets asked that question all the time.
Yeah. So without giving him a knee-jerk reaction, I thought, let's host a show and let's have a discussion about it. And then maybe I could call him on Monday and say, look, through people who are very much in HVAC with me, we've talked about this, and here's a solid answer. So Ty Brannaman, this is why I reached out to you, because I know, man, you've been in the trenches on the other side for quite some time. And I was like, I want to get Ty's feedback on some of this.
And, the fact that he understands airflow, I mean, that's huge, because it's so hard getting somebody that understands superheat and subcooling to really understand airflow. And I'm like, hey, I love that you're getting superheat down, but if you don't have airflow, it really doesn't mean anything. So he's already ahead of most people. And the key is there's so many different ways of getting started in a trade, especially now. We have access to more information than we can. The problem is it just gets overwhelming for us. There's so much information out there. It's like, where do I start? And what's cool now is we can get started ahead of time without having to spend a ton of money. You can actually see if it's something you're going to like first with the contents out there. I did a playlist of how I do class from the very beginning, stepping it through, and it's in consecutive order. I know that my friend Craig Michelangelo, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, my friend Craig with AC Service Tech, he's got a workbook. He's amazing, and he's such a good guy. He's got tons of information to help people understand it easily. You got Brian Orr with the HVAC school, which I think is the absolute best, most sound information. It's just overwhelming. There's so much of it there. So the biggest thing is start somewhere, whether it's a video or it's a book or it's listening and getting started is the key. Like, just get started somewhere and let that curiosity drive you.
I'm going to disagree. When I started out, there was like nothing out there. I would kill to be 24 right now, bro. There's so much information. Like you said, it might be overwhelming. I understand, but God, man, if this, like some Brian Orr 15 years ago, dude, I almost quit the trade, bro.
Do you think it wasn't out there, or do you think it wasn't easy to find what you wanted?
Dude, that's
did you see like only trade school and nothing else?
Yeah, it's funny. When I was at the symposium, I met Eugene. I'm gonna butcher this one, just like Craig's last name, Silberstein. Did I get that right? Yeah. And
I think so.
I think he taught at the program when I went to on Long Island. It was like a BOCES program. It's like straight up, cosmetology, shop, automotive. It was really cool to get his take on the side of teaching. And I told him my thoughts. I was like, I wish they were just a little bit more introductory on the equipment itself. Like, hey, actually, just like the question Chris presented, what do you want to do? What area? This is so vast of a trade, man. You could do anything. I mean, look at Script, like reinventing himself with TEC, and dude, it's amazing. It's a tough question.
When I started, it was just at the mercy of whoever else was around you to answer those questions. And if they didn't want to answer anything, or they didn't know themselves, they would just make something up. And then you're waiting for the supply classes, and then you started collecting manuals and workbooks and having to go to the library. And we didn't have any at trade school even. So it was just, you're at the mercy of whoever else. And I got to the point where I couldn't get the answers, and I had to start reading more and learning more. And then once the internet opened up and you could get access to information, I still get overwhelmed though. Like there's so much to learn. I'll just start learning a topic and I just keep following through, but there's so much that I want to learn. I want to learn, refrigeration, all the new stuff out there, plus airflow, plus all the details about building science. And some days I was like, you know what, I'm just going to stop today and just go relax, because I get overwhelmed.
See, Ty's like me. I'm up till like 3 a.m. on YouTube videos, because like Jenry said, I'm YouTube certified.
That's right. It's good. And, we joke about that, but there is so much information. I want to work on my truck. I don't know how to do something. I either go to a forum or something on YouTube and see how somebody did it, and I go and do it myself. And I think that's key. That's one of the reasons I started doing some of the videos, is because there's so much bad content, and you can't just say that's bad, take it down. Well, you combat it with good content. So I started putting content out there, and how I do the class and stuff, just to, hey, now you have the choice. You can look for good content, and I'm still learning myself. I'm not saying everything I do is perfect.
You never stop, man. That's what I say. You never stop learning.
True story. We were about to leave to go on a vacation a couple of weeks ago, and I had a brake light out, and I'm like, I need to fix this brake light before we hit the road. I've been putting it off for like 2 weeks. I said, all right, I'm going to do this right now. I had like 2 hours before we were going to leave. 2 screws and the tail light should have just popped straight back, right? And I'm like, okay. Changed a few of these on service trucks, no big deal. Well, I take the 2 screws out. It's on our minivan. And I'm thinking, okay, the light should just slide right out of it. It's conformed into the 2 panels on the side of the van. I'm like, it should just pop out. Man, I took the screws out and I'm just like moving it. It does not want to come out, but it's loose. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, there's no way they're going to make you have a special tool for popping this out. So what I do, YouTube University, baby.
Yeah, man.
I literally go in the house. Wife's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I got to figure out how to do this real quick. I kid you not. I literally just say year. I typed in the year, the make, the model, brake light, and a first video that pops up is a guy literally showing it. He's like, hey, I'm gonna show you how to change this light bulb on the back of this minivan. I'm like, yes.
And then I just bad until you try to change that oil pressure sensor by yourself,
right. So I scanned the video really slowly so I could see what he's doing. And then when he gets to the tail light, he literally goes, oh, and this little plastic piece, that's what's keeping that light kind of tight. You just got to tug it and it'll pop out. And I'm like, thank you. Like, I should have subscribed to his channel and I didn't. I need to go
back. Give him a thumbs up.
I do. I need to go give that man a thumbs up.
We got to start doing
that. Yeah, at least give him a thumbs up.
Yeah, I just popped that light off, man, and brake light was changing. And YouTube is awesome for like, I need information right now.
Yeah.
I love that part of it.
I watch Ty's videos, even if I go, you know what, I've been over that. I've seen that already. Because everybody has their own beautiful take on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had the recovery tanks cut open. And I was like, nobody's done this. I'm like, why? Why is nobody cut? I've seen compressors taken open. Cut that damn recovery tank open, you know? And it's good because I'm a visual person. So
yeah, I would say your latest video where you took the TXV and you cut it in half and you showed the bowl sliding back and forth, that was a good one. I really appreciate that video. I'm just going to say it straight from the heart, my man. I like that video. It did it for me.
I appreciate that. And I struggle to learn things. So when I read something, I have to read it 9 or 10 times before it finally clicks. I got to use highlighters and different colors and sticky notes. So I struggle to get a concept down. But once I have it, then it makes sense. And Chris, like you do, I take the information and I just represent it. I didn't come up with the information. I just represent it to where it would make sense to me and other people can connect with that. And so it's not like I'm a smart guy. I just figure out how to take information, compute it, and then redistribute it. Yes, Eric.
What's up, Ty?
Who made it?
We got the Kaiser.
Right? Freaking tried to turn my computer on tonight, and it said,
It's probably too cold over there.
Yeah, actually, this is like almost 60 degrees here today, and the sun was out all day.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I had to fire up the old backup laptop.
Okay, so Ty, you mentioned something I want to beat on. When I was in the trade, I went the traditional route, went through trade school, came out of trade school, get into trade, and then you start trying to soak like a sponge from anybody who's around you. My father was the one who was around me, so he gave it to me straight as much as he could. And there's some things I know my dad just like, for one, like static pressure mapping wasn't his strong suit. For the sector of work he was doing. I mean, it plays a role in all of them, but most of the time engineers were overseeing what he was doing as far as the design. So airflow wasn't his bag, shall we say.
That's funny because now you're the airflow guy.
That's right. Funny story. My dad sat in class with me and David last week. And, I called my dad and I didn't even tell him to come because he's basically retired.
I saw the pictures, man. Tell Dad I said hi.
Yeah, and I said, look, Dad, this class is going to be really good. I said, we know how this area is. It's really difficult to get a good trainer here. And, it just, like you said, you always wait on that the supply house to kick off a training. It's usually a hardcore sales pitch. No offense to anybody out there, man, I'm going to get scolded for this one, but typically the people that were brought in here, they didn't really know the trade at all. They might have knew the product, but they couldn't relate the product to the trade. And so you didn't really get much out of the class. So it felt like a straight sales pitch. And man, I feel like a dirtbag saying that because I'm basically the sales pitch guy now, right? I've got the true flow in my hands and I'm like, you should have this in your life. But I didn't shove it down their throat, right? Me and David taught the class. I even was straight up. I said, look, I'm supposed to sell you this tool. Let's just get that out of the way. My job is to make you want to buy that. But I'm not here to do that. I'm here to make sure you leave and you freaking know something. I was like, that's what I'm here to do. Now, if you want to buy that, thumbs up. If you don't, I don't give a crap. You're not going to leave here and say that I tried to sales pitch you something. I was like, we all clear on that? Done. Let's move forward. And David's like, all right, now we're getting started. It's kind of how we opened up the class.
I like it. Keep it real, man.
It was real as it gets.
Be honest about it,
Yeah, it was, I didn't know. I've always worried about how am I going to cross this bridge? I'm supposed to, be part of like selling this tool for sure. But I don't want to come off as a salesman. So it's a tough, I could see it's kind of tough, especially with the background,
Yeah, it's hard. It is hard.
It is hard. So, you don't want
we people. Got Jason's in the house. What's up, Jason?
We got some people.
Overtime. What's up?
Overtime. I forgot to hit the bell.
Who's the
notification bell. The notification. Well, dude, just hit the thumbs
Ding,
up.
ding.
Maybe the subscribe button. You could go for
Rocky
both
Balboa
of
asked that question.
those.
But dude,
So
getting
where am I
back to your question earlier, what avenue should that was it a friend of a friend?
Well, yes, but let me finish this statement. So I see it as this. The trade is starting to get more and more trainers, and I'm gonna give a shout out to NCI on this. Like NCI training is quality training. I would definitely like them to get into other areas. Like my area, and I told David this. I'm like, dude, I didn't know who NCI was my whole life until I came to TEC. I was like, then
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wow,
Me
there's
too.
actually a training organization that trains me after I get out of trade school on next level stuff. I'm like,
Where have you been?
oh man, I'm telling you, guys who live in the part of the country where they get the good trainers all the time of the year, they don't know how good they got it. I was so like, I had no idea that all this extra, curriculum
what?
training is out there.
You know what? Here's the thing though, like NCI and the trainers will go wherever people invite them.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. All you have to do is invite them.
Right.
Like a distributor sets up says, "Hey, NCI, you want to use our classroom? Come on in and put on a training." They'll
Dude,
go
that's
anywhere
awesome.
they'll go anywhere in the country. Somebody's got to, enough people.
You guys ever watch that
up for the
movie?
class.
You watch that movie, My Cousin Vinny? You ever see that?
Yeah. It's
Right?
been a long time.
Joe
though.
Pesci. Yeah, well, it's getting old, Joe Pesci goes in the middle of nowhere, tries to save Ralph Macchio. That's like where I live, dude. I live in the middle of in the woods. So like the distributor over here could care less, man. It's crazy. You sell boxes, you're good.
He's nailing that comment, Eric. It goes back. I hate to say it, but it goes back to the distributor. Your distributor's got to want to bring in training.
Yeah.
Well, I will agree with you on that. The distributor has to want to bring in training, but the contractors have to be willing to go to the training, learn something from the training, and apply that for the distributor to actually want to continue to do that. It is a two-way street, and it's a partnership. It has to be.
The two youths.
I'm going to take that one step further. NCI has some pretty sweet deals with manufacturers, right?
Oh.
And they have co-op dollars that can be spent on training. So there is this other side to it, which I could get that. You have company owners, and let's be honest, man, co-op dollars, a lot of people spend them very frivolously, right? It's just, I need more stickers. Now, I've literally had my rep call me and say, man, if you don't spend $5,000 on something you can expend through co-op dollars in 2 months, you're just going to lose it. And I'm like, I guess I'll go get some more shirts, whatever. I mean, there's plenty of co-op money out there, and NCI's got that game working where you can pay for classes with co-op dollars, which is pretty cool.
Well, I mean, to me, like, this is weird for me to hear you say this and hear anybody say this, because NCI was the first class that I ever attended after getting into this trade.
Were you trying to make me jealous or something?
Yeah, man. Yeah, Eric.
Come on.
Eric's listen to how I'm better than you. I got all the training I wanted at my fingertips after trade school.
I don't want to sound like that, but to me, it's like completely foreign to hear somebody say this, because, I started outside of St. Louis in a little tiny town that was mostly coal mining, and there was a food packaging plant, couple food packaging plants in the area. It was not like a big, huge metropolis, and my boss was like, he was into going to NCI, like the summit and things like that early on. But he was really he was a contractor that was out there looking for that next level knowledge that was trying to do better. And he went out and found it for himself. And, to me, that was the combustion class. I had to sit and dodge combustion analyzers from Jim Davis. that was the first class that I ever attended after I got in the trade. And no, I'm sorry, I didn't go to tech school. I never went through traditional tech school.
I didn't either.
So,
I didn't like it. I did it, but I'm not a book guy, man.
The irony that I've taught at multiple tech schools across the country, and I didn't go to one.
Dang. What about you, Michael?
So-
Did you go?
What's that?
Did you go to trade school?
Yeah, like I was telling you, what Eugene was saying. It's like a small trade school, but they were teaching more of like commercial refrigeration, and I was looking to do like residential. And I was like, what is going on? What is this guy showing me like this? It's like a V8 compressor. I was like, what happens if I wanted to do appliances? It's like going back to your question with the first question.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's such a vast. I mean, dude, the last 3 years has opened my eyes going to the symposium. Like so many avenues of what you can do. You could do tech support. I mean, dude,
that's the problem with a trade school is even if you get a good school with all good intentions, good instructors, you're actually, buying the tools and equipment for people to do hands-on. There's so much information, and you dump all this information, hoping they'll retain it all. And then after you're done, you dump into the field, say, hey, good luck, bye, next class.
Yeah.
And it has to be it has to be a continuous thing. Like you need to learn some basics to get started, but you also need to continuously learn. So some of the stuff we talk about in advanced classes, they need to have hands-on more than just, hey, we're going to the lab and doing this. Time actually working with the contractor. And there's so much to learn. You need to be able to fine tune. So in other words, instead of teaching commercial to everybody, hey, this person wants to do commercial, or they want to switch over to commercial. Now let's teach you that. Or you want to learn appliances, let's teach you that right now. Instead of trying to teach everything you're going to need to know all at once. And you're certified. You got this, you did it. Good job.
Yeah.
You're good to go. We'll never see you again. And it really needs to be, a team.
I totally agree, dude. That's all.
Certified not to accomplish anything when you get out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you can be certified in everything and just get into the trade and then be like, hey, go pick my tools up. Like, yeah, I don't like this guy. Fire him. Get him out of here. He's not good at fetching tools the first 2 weeks, but he's got certifications and everything.
So I'm going to share
tough out there, man.
Just a shout out to Brian Orr and what he's doing right now.
Yes,
Available internship. I don't know if anybody's seen this, but this is slick right here. This man's kicking off internships at Kalos for 6 months. It's impressive.
We need that nationwide. That right there is what I've been driving for.
This right here, let's be honest. If you're not going into the field with someone doing an internship, there's no replacing that. That's the way to do it. If you really want to know what the trade's like, you can go to the lab all you want. It's not the same thing. Until you go right in the truck, work out of the truck, have to meet and greet a homeowner, and then climb up a set of, stairwell or go to the basement, it ain't the same.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. I mean, dude, Kalos is reaching over by me. Next, they'll be creeping up on Jenry's area in Miami, bro. He's taking over Florida.
So, Ty, you were talking. I seen a post the other day. I'm going to fire this out there, man, because I got to hear. You said for for-profit trade schools. I'm going to light a fuse.
Man. Now you got it going.
Hey, man. We're about to earn our title to this show, The Grapevine.
So let me put a disclaimer out there. I'm not talking about all schools, and if this offends anybody that's at a school, then maybe I am talking about you. I know that community colleges have their issue, but at least it's affordable. What I want to talk about is the for-profit money-making trade school business, and maybe it's still going to be the right choice for somebody. It may be the best choice for them, but they should at least know how that system works. And the first thing is they have a huge marketing budget. It is a money-making machine, and their marketing budget is huge. So anybody that searches Learn HVAC, there's going to be these schools are the only thing you're going to see. You're not going to see the apprenticeship program like Brian's doing, or anywhere else in the country, or the local trade school, or any of the other things that you can start for very affordable. You're going to see only what they want you to see because they're paying big bucks for you to see that marketing. And then so you call them up just because, hey, I'm curious, I'm seeing it. They're constantly texting me, emailing me. So you call them. And then their whole drive is to get you in there. Like they're called admissions reps, but they're really salespeople. And their job, and they're good at their job, is to get you in the school. You got to tour the school. They won't even tell you how much until they get you there. And then they have these things such as find the pain point of that student. Eric, what's going on in your life right now? Oh, that's just horrible. Well, does that make you happy where you're at right now? Well, you can't continue your life like that. And how's that affecting your wife and your kids? And do you have the car that you want? And they make their life look like it's this horrible, horrible thing. And you need to sign up right now. This is the only thing. And people are like, man, yeah, let's do it. And they sign up on it. And then you get all these people without really knowing that's what they want to do, and they're signing up and for a $20,000 loan with a high interest rate, and they have this 90-10 rule saying that if 90% of your students are on federal student loan, 10% should pay out of pocket if it's that good. And they do this little trick where they're like, well, we're going to have 90% of your loan a federal loan, and the other 10% will be a private loan. So that way they get around that. And then people have these huge debts. And then once they get them enrolled, a lot of them don't care about the instruction. They don't care about the labs, the tools. I've spent thousands of dollars out of my own pocket to buy supplies, tools, and equipment for the students to use. I go and gather up and borrow, beg, and steal. I mean, people are paying $20,000 with a class full of 25 people morning and night every 6 weeks to put more people in. And they can't buy lab equipment. And then they pay the instructors so low. Or one school, they hired a janitor. Another school, a student just graduated. They hired him and put him in the class to teach. And because they just want to keep somebody there. And no matter what you do, as long as the student doesn't drop out, they don't really care. The student drops out. Now we've lost money and it's your fault. And then when they graduate, I've had students before that graduated from some of these schools that they couldn't even put gauges on. I've had students that I came into the school like, how do we put gauges on? I'm like, you're graduating in a few weeks. They're like, well, nobody ever taught us. So how to put gauges on, how to do recovery and vacuum. Well, we talked about it once. And so to me, it's super frustrating. You've sold somebody an education and they're not providing the skill. Then they put them out there in the field and the employer's like, this guy didn't know nothing. So I have to start over from scratch. Damn. And it's super, super frustrating because here's somebody that wants to start a new career. Now they're $20,000 in debt plus interest, and they don't have the basic skills they need to get started. And we talk about, I know government loan forgiveness or whatever you want to call it, it's a big deal, but people don't realize that most of those are for defunct, closed down for-profit trade schools, Corinthian colleges, Everest Institute, ITT Tech. All these had HVAC programs, and they signed up
Tech. I remember that one.
And it's like, oh, let's go to trade school. It's the college dream, the image that people want. I'm going to be a skilled person. I'm going to have this diploma. But everybody passes through. Just keep people in and keep them out. And it's a money-making machine. But, I love teaching. It's my passion. But at some point, to the point where it's like, I can't be a part of that system. I can't, am I helping or hurting? Because I'm trying to give these people a good education, but they're coming to see me and they're spending $20,000 when they can get this information, that's free out there. And it's super, super frustrating to me. And maybe it's still the best option. If you at least know that going into it, then great. But a lot of people, they don't know, they market to a demographic of people that don't necessarily understand return on investments. They don't understand debt. They don't understand, jobs.
And they're young. They're young people,
and they're young
too, man.
Older people. They promise everybody. And then the other thing they'll do is everybody, they give somebody a job. Hey, you're working at Home Depot. Do you ever go to the HVAC aisle? But hey, you're placed. You work at McDonald's. Oh, hey, you touch a thermostat. You worked at a walk-in freezer. You at least went in one. Yeah, you're placed in the field. And it's crooked, and it's super, super frustrating.
As soon as you said they make them feel the pain, it sounds like a process that I heard about.
I was going to say that
little Sandler on there.
This sounds like another process that,
and that's why I can't watch Sandler, because of that. I cannot get through his
think Sandler
pain
is
points.
Like Star Wars. It's like Star Wars. You could be a little Obi-Wan, or you could be, a little Vader on there, man. Just don't go to the dark side, bro. You could use Sandler, but just don't.
So there's a lot of talk in the chat about co-op dollars paying for training, and I got a lot of experience in this, so I'm going to drop some bombs. So if you got your pen and paper ready, get ready. Because if you're one of those people, you're like, man, I always struggle to spend my co-op dollars. That's right, Ty. Here you go.
You talking like a townhome? What's going on?
No, here's some tidbits for you, man. Because I had a
huge for being a dealer.
Yeah, when I was a dealer, man, my co-op dollars got to probably, I don't know, $15,000. And here's what I started doing with it. Now, there's going to be a sales pitch at the end of this, so bear with me. But come on, man. I'm going to give you a lot of information. Let me get my one in there. So if you use QuickBooks or any other service and you mail people a bill or you send it through email transmission and you pay for this service and you have your distributor's logo on it, guess what? Your co-op dollars will pick up that expense. Wow. I did. We paid for all of our QuickBooks through our co-op dollars. Now, I will say this. Then I started going into, later on in life, I started to do some internet branding with our company. And, you know, we were posting on different social media platforms. That service, because I branded my dealer with me on some of the content, didn't have to be all of it, but some of it did. I paid for that service with co-op dollars. So the general story of what I'm getting here is, whatever piece of information or media or whatever that your customer is going to see, if your dealer's logo fits on that information with you, like a true flow report, right? Your co-op dollars will essentially pick it up.
When you say dealer's logo, you mean the brand logo?
Correct. The manufacturer of the equipment, who's setting the dollars into place to your distributor so your distributor can spend on you. Yeah. So it all starts with the manufacturer. So you're right, Eric. The manufacturer's logo would need to be present on all this stuff. Yeah. But they're very lenient from what I've learned, is they don't want it blasted, taking up half the page. They're super cool with like something small in the corner.
So Julian, let's get a logo from your dealer on there, and let's get me up there and do some training.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man. It's if you haven't inquired about your co-op dollars and how far you can stretch it on what you want to spend it on, you better start asking, because that's a whole lot of money you may be spending on, you know, knickknacks you're tossing in the local parade that you could be spending on a lot more good stuff. Food for thought.
HVAC Overtime said that they should pay the instructors well. And I got into teaching not because I wanted to make it. I took a huge, like a quarter of my pay to come in and get to teaching. And I don't regret that whatsoever. And I think that's my niche in life, is teaching and educating. I think that's where I belong. And I'm working in the field because I make so much more money working in the field. But when I left trade school, I started doing the YouTube videos because I thought, you know, if I can help train people and still provide information, at least I can do it giving it away to somebody without somebody else profiting off of my side of it. And I do wish that instructors were paid, because you have to know, or you should be driving to learn more and know more. I know when Eric was teaching, we had some really great conversations, and he's full of some really wonderful ideas. And I know he had some of those frustrations. I don't know if he wants to talk about them here or not, but I mean, he gets it. And so when I'm talking to a new instructor, I never talk about the things that we're talking about now. I never talk about the downside, administration, you know, bad students. I let them bring it to me. Hey, I'm having this problem, and I get this at least once a week from an instructor. How do I deal with either a student or administration? And then I will inform them, here's some ideas how to deal with that. But I try not to be negative. So I don't want you to see this as like all trade schools are evil and we should stop them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that people should at least understand what's happening so they can make an informed decision. And
and the possibilities of what these kids can get into, man. They could waste some good, you know, doing night classes. That, you know, you could really soak up a lot of time and just spin your wheels. So
you mentioned something, Ty, about looking things up on the internet and what you make in the trade. And I did some Google searches before this presentation started tonight, and I was like, you know what? Because I've done this before, and I was like, I wonder what it's up to now. So I'm here looking at Google, and I'm like, how much is an HVAC technician gonna make right now? And I'm just going to present. Let's just throw it up there.
You mean starting wages or median wages or
median wages? This one says median wages. So I want to throw these out there, and then we'll talk about it.
And that excludes Florida. We're a right to work state.
So I have no idea what I'm looking. I'm just plucking the second article I just found on Google, and it says 2019 average HVAC pay $51,420. I'm gonna call BS on that one.
I was clearing 100,000 15 years ago, so that's
right.
Super out of date. But that's still way more than instructors make. So
Yeah, I mean, a lot of instructors are lucky to make that much or just slightly more. And we where was I at? Oh, it was I gotta find that picture now. So coming back from the symposium this year, we stopped at good old Buc-ee's.
Oh, Buc-ee's.
The one that Alex Meany doesn't like, right?
Oh, the one he posted?
What, the one is it the new one in Mississippi?
No, it was in Georgia.
Oh,
Florida Georgia line.
It was in Georgia, and I stopped, and they had a huge sign, and I don't know if I can present this or not. Probably not, because it's not on.
Of their pay.
Do you need me to pull a picture up of Buc-ee's?
But no, they had a huge sign out front of Buc-ee's.
Starting pay.
With all of their starting pay on it for all of their different positions. And now I'm trying to find it here.
Yeah, I remember that. It
I have that picture.
Basically, it was like, hey, take the fast track to $100,000.
Yeah. So their cashiers start out at $16 an hour, right? Food service and car wash are $19 an hour. Team leads are 18 to 21. Department managers 23 to 31. And if you work your way up to a general manager, they're 150 to 225K. Plus, you get 401ks. You get a 6% match on your 401k. You get 3 weeks paid time off. If you're working overnight, you get a 2-hour shift differential. And I look at a lot of HVAC companies trying to start people off at, $16-18 an hour. I'm like,
that's high. That's high for here, man.
Well, look,
but I can go work at Buc-ee's and get the same money with this article.
That's headache. I'm with you, bro. My buddy's gonna quit and he's gonna start selling beds soon.
This article's telling me right now, man, that in 2021, the top 10% is earning around $78,000 in this trade.
Yeah, I don't think these people have a clue what they're talking about.
I don't think so either.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, my buddy's got 15 years experience. He's just so fed up. He's service manager. He just wants to go work with my friend. He sells sleep number beds.
You probably make more money selling sleep number beds, honestly.
You can make 40 to 120,000.
So we should just put it out there for the record. Just in case
we sound like anti-HVAC guys. Damn it.
Well, no, I don't want to be anti-HVAC. I want there to be a kid who's watching, who's maybe 17 years old. Maybe he's somehow stumbled across this show and maybe he's thinking, man, I do want to get into HVAC. And if that kid's watching, I'm going to stare that kid in the face right now and say, dude, this trade, you can make a lot of money. I personally have made a lot of money in this trade.
And I'm sorry I dropped some F-bombs. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. So I'm just saying 6 figures is not hard to do going into this trade.
Yeah.
There.
Just got to be in the right place, right time, man.
And you have to learn a lot, but it doesn't have to be at a formal school. There's apprenticeship programs out there. You have to search them. You have to find them. But you can also learn on your own. There's tons of different programs. SkillCat, you can get your EPA test for free now, which I don't even know how that works. There's tons of training you can learn, and then go to companies and then start applying. I have an entire YouTube playlist, how to get started in HVAC. Actually, it starts with what is HVAC, because people think it's just fixing air conditioners, but it's way bigger than that. So see what career path interests you. And I got a whole list of different ways to get started, how to find these different programs, and then how to get that first job, how to land that first job, and then see if you like it or not, and then go from there. So it's there's multiple ways to start. You got to find out what's best for you.
Yeah, man.
And
I totally agree.
For that 17-year-old who's watching, if you jump on with a company, there's a good chance they will pay you to go to trade school. Let's just face it. Like a trade school is they're not where I was. Guys, when I went to trade school for 2.5 years, it cost $2,500, and that's with the books. This place was cheap, and our instructor was really good. So I'm sure it's not there at that price point anymore. I mean, that's 20 years ago. But if you got your head on your shoulders and it's right, you know what I'm saying, and you're geared and you're like, man, I want to do good for this company. That company owner is not going to bat an eye saying, let's send this guy to trade school. If that's what you really want out of life, they'll do it. We funded a couple kids to go to trade school.
And if you go to a community college, get a job while you're going. Don't just expect that community college is going to teach you everything, because some of them are great programs, some of them are lacking. But go get a job in the field and then go to school and use it and build your own apprenticeship program, if you will. So that way you're still learning while you're going. There's multiple options out there.
So,
like I said earlier, man. Well, I'm sorry, guys. What was that?
Go find a local contractor that has a legitimate apprenticeship program. There's a lot more of them out there right now, and they're becoming more common. And that is, you have to go to school, especially if it's a Department of Labor accredited program. You have to go to school so many hours, and you get to work in the field so many hours. So it's automatically a blended program. It's a lot more similar to what happens up in Canada, because in Canada, in order to get your ticket to even work alone, my understanding is you've got like 4 or 5 years of school and work combined. You have to have so many hours of both.
Got a house in the house.
Indeed.
I've been dying to say
Speaking of learning, I learn from him all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, that dude's one smart cookie. I wish I had half as many brain cells as he does.
I have a question for you guys. Let's play a hypothetical. Let's say someone just doesn't have the time to go to trade school, right? They've got a family, they're in a career, they want to switch careers. They can't just shut it down, go to trade school, and do the apprentice run the whole route. And then, okay, it's not so hypothetical. Let's say it's somebody who's, and you want to give them good advice on a Monday morning. What would you tell that person how they should get into HVAC? What would be your route if trade school wasn't the option because he just could not make the schedule happen?
Apprentice program, 100%, because you're going to get paid while you're learning.
I would say, what was that town we had the house at Symposium? Claremont?
Yeah.
Are you asking where the house was located?
Yeah, it was Claremont.
Yeah, it was
Animal House. Yeah, I would say move your ass to Claremont and get a job at Kalos and take that. What was that? That was he's offering. I mean, dude, it's amazing. It's like,
yeah, it's a 6-month apprenticeship run.
Apprenticeship.
Yep,
dude, it's amazing. I mean,
is that an apprenticeship or is that a internship?
I think it was an apprenticeship. Yeah,
I thought it was an internship.
Because down here in Florida, man, you could spin your wheel like 6 years, like working for somebody that is just beer can cold dudes all day, bro.
Because what Brian is offering is an internship, I'm pretty sure, as opposed to an apprenticeship. Now, those are two very different things.
Oh, let me go find it and see.
Yeah,
that's a good
pull that up, because I still don't even know the difference between the two.
Is it an internship or is it an apprenticeship?
I'm pretty sure it's an internship, because an apprenticeship is a lot longer than 6 months.
You're right. It is. So I've just pulled it, and I'll just throw it back up there.
Chuck it up there, Chris.
Throwing it up there. It is an internship. Right on.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
okay.
What's the difference?
It means you're going to have a job with him when you're
the
done.
Great Googler.
So typically, in a lot of industries, an internship is actually unpaid. Now he's, I think, paying.
Oh, he's
people.
paying. Yeah.
He's paying hourly rate in that.
$15 an hour
is like where you're just barely getting your feet wet. A lot of times you'll do an internship while you're in school or something like that. An apprenticeship is typically like a 4 to 5 year program where you are in the field learning, you have to work with under a journeyman or somebody like that. And then you also go to a set number of hours of schooling over that period of time. And you have to come out of that with some sort of a certificate or something like that. And you go back on the HVAC school podcast, I think about a year ago or a little bit more, I did an episode with Bryn Cooksey at AHR when it was in Vegas, I think. And it was 2022. So that would have been Vegas, right? Anyway, Bryn's out of Detroit area. And he started up an internship, or an apprenticeship program in his own company. And he uses the RSES certificate member test as his top bar for his apprenticeship program.
So could you highlight that one? It says, I mean, if Brian from HVAC Overtime, I mean, if Brian would offer an online program. So I was actually talking to a company today, yesterday, had a meeting with them. They have where any business can make their own learning platform to where they'll assign it to their employees and they can have a learning path. But if Brian would offer an online program and worked with other educators, like worked with NCI, worked with ESCO Institute, HVAC Excellence, of using people that already have other learning, that's sound learning, and had an actual certificate. And then what if somebody got done with that program or that section and wanted to hands-on, like say they learned gas furnaces and they got all the theory down, and they could, go to a destination that's, close to Orlando, where you have a big mouse that you can go see with your family. And then they spent a week learning about gas furnaces. This is my dream, and I would move to Florida in a heartbeat. And Brian and I have been talking about that. But there's so many moving parts going on in there, but that would be my dream. On top of having apprenticeship programs across the country, like every state having an apprenticeship program.
Now, we were talking earlier that usually it's the distributor that does all the training, gets guys involved and whatnot. I think we should make a paradigm shift, man. We should reach out to all these AC companies and be like, listen, this is not working. Everybody is starving for new technicians. Grab somebody that knows absolutely nothing. We'll fly out Ty. We'll fly out somebody. Train on site. I mean, I'm offering kids that in my area to train them for free and just kick them to my buddy's company because they're just looking for somebody that doesn't have a DUI, doesn't, can show up to work. I mean, these guys are like dying for people in my area. I don't know how it is in the rest of the country.
So think about this. Instead of teaching things everybody needs to know, you have an install class coming up. They learn the theories about everything online, all the as many videos as you can. But then they come and actually practice it live, and then before summertime, so that way they go back to the company, and now they can't probably do an install completely on their own, but they understand how to braze, how to do these things, how to pull a vacuum, why we're pulling a vacuum. Yeah. And then before wintertime, you can do one on heat pumps, one on gas furnaces, and in the spring, before the spring comes, on doing maintenance. So you could actually build just what they need in segments and then piece that up. And hey, you're ready to be a tech? Let's get you some airflow. Let's give you, hey, you want to do sales? Let's teach you about manual J, manual S, and you could bring the pros in from all over the country and offer these top of the line classes. I think it's got a ton of potential. And that's my.
I love it, dude. I love it, man. Teach them about pain.
There's also an organization. It's the North Park Innovations, who used to own the iManifold. They still make the iManifold trainers, but Bill and Lori have got a training center in the Bahamas now. And, companies can actually send a lot of companies go on trips, the manufacturers will take their top dealers or whatever on trips and things like that.
It's not at Epstein Island, is it?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Because I heard the real estate's real cheap.
Had to bring that up, didn't you? Had to bring that up.
Bro, you said Bahamas, man. I was like, I'm all in, and my brain said, wait a minute now. What island?
I don't know. I think I just saw an email the other day that Eugene's going out there, so you'll have to check with him sometime.
We'll check the flight logs. All right.
But anyway, so companies can now even send their techs out there to get training. So they go through a half a day of training, and then they actually go get some vacation time in. Little snorkeling, little scuba diving, little sitting on the beach.
Dude, I'm in.
While they're getting some training, rather than, a lot of the times it's the big dealer trips where the owner goes or something like that, and they kind of switched it up, and it's like, hey, send your techs out there and get a little bit of a reward for some
Flip the
continuing
script,
education.
man. Entice them to come out. I like that. That's awesome.
Sounds like a good place to land your business if you like to vacation there a lot.
Especially a bunch of guys from like Michigan and upstate New York, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like a heck of a place to go teach some classes to me, but
that's what I'm saying, you know. A little fun in the sun and airflow, baby.
They got some they take guest instructors and whatnot out there a lot, and you get, you know, whoever's going out there gets to have a little vacation right along with the students, I guess.
So here's a topic that got brought up in the Animal House this year, and I'll just go ahead and throw this out there. Yeah, Mike, I believe you were in this conversation. So
I can't confirm or deny.
If you're in the chat, would love to hear your comments on this, but let's talk about this. What if next to your Netflix button, there was another app that you could click and all of these shows would be on them? You'd have the Grapevine Show, the Overtime Show, the Ty Brannaman Show, all of these shows, all compiled in one location, right? And maybe it's a streaming service. Maybe you pay $3 a month for it. But it's
what would Jim Bergman do show?
Right. And you could have Jim Bergman fireside chats on there somewhere, you know, like as your commercials. But let's take it one step further.
Oh, the Overtime Show, you mean?
Let's say you have a manufacturer who's willing to pay to import their LMS training module in that app as well. And then while you're vegging out, eating your dinner on your TV tray or whatever, you could sit there and watch the manufacturer's LMS training module and actually take the test at the end of it with your remote. That would be a pretty slick feature.
That'd be cool.
I just want to see Jim Bergman sitting by a fireside with waffles, drinking a Woodford Reserve, man. That's all I want. So, I'm a simple man.
But Ty, we're sitting here talking about, what did we say in the beginning of this episode? There's content everywhere. It's everywhere.
We got to bring it together, bro.
There's gotta be this bringing together of all the content.
Yeah,
I firmly believe that.
We can do an app.
In some ways, ESCO has tried to do that with the HVACR learning. ESCO owns the HVACR learning network.
Okay. Never heard of it. Let's do our own app.
RSES has some stuff on there. But there's a lot of content on there, but there's also a ton of content on YouTube and everything else. And I think one of the big things about YouTube is that it's so easy for people to actually monetize and make the content creators to actually make some money off of.
So maybe we should put everybody's YouTube account into one YouTube account, kind of like what Michael House was saying. I mean, they get a little screwy, but
we could just have House write code and build this whole thing for us.
A little Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, like, come on, House, get it done, dude. We're waiting on you.
House asked the question of why don't the schools have people ride with techs in the field? And I have an answer, because I actually went to companies and got them set up to where my students would go and ride for them. They'd pay a minimum wage to cover them with workman's comp or whatever, so they could just ride along and carry tools or whatever. And the school got so mad, like they were furious, because what they found is they don't want students working in the field while they go into school, because then they'll quit school because they can learn a lot of what they're doing on their own, or they realize, hey, we don't have the tools that we need to actually learn this. So if they're just in school and they're not working in the field, they don't know any better. They don't know they're not getting the education they need. And if they go to work in the field, then they get to see they're not getting the information they're supposed to be getting, and they quit school and just go work in the field. So that's why you see a lot of schools that don't want people going to school and working at the same time, although it's the best scenario.
Yeah,
just an FYI.
The companies are trying to fish the guys early because they're in need.
And we've had companies before that said, hey, we want you to stay in school, but the students get mad because then they realize they're smart enough to go get that job, and then they realize, wait a minute, I am not getting what I paid for. Why am I going to continue to pay for this?
That's a
students
tough one,
can say, hey, if you want me to stay here, then you better fix the program. You better get me the tools, supplies I need so I can actually learn something. So I think it's a good thing. But just to answer the question from House, that's the dirty backside of that.
Yeah,
Well,
that is true,
Just
man.
a-
And don't
I
forget
think-
now, we are the 2% of the HVAC trade. All the guys in the chat and right here.
I think it depends a
Forget
lot on
now.
the school. I think we may have lost part of Ty there. He seems to be a little frozen, but I think it depends on the school. Now you're back, Ty.
Okay, good.
Because like the local school, that's it's a career center, high school level career center, and they do some adult ed there as well in the evenings. They actually set up in their second semester for their HVAC technicians. I sat on their board there for the HVAC program, and their second semester students have the option to go do a work with a company during their normal class time. So, it really depends on the school and how they're set up, whether it's day classes or night classes, because if you have night classes and that person's working another job during the day, they might not be able to do that.
That's what I did. I did night classes.
But I think they call it co-op or something like that, where they're going in and working. I don't know all the details of how they do that.
I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I'm just a traditional kid, man. What can I say?
Chris, so what do you think, man? I mean, your first question.
Thinking what am I gonna tell this guy tomorrow?
I don't know, bro. I'm not gonna.
You guys haven't helped me very much.
Well, I think what you got to tell
him
is just to go live with Ty for about 6 months, and
there you go. Yeah,
he can
Ty,
chase. He can chase skunks around during the night, and then go learn HVAC during the day.
I'd say have him find out the content he likes first, whether it's what he connects with. So, for example, like Craig, like his content and his top quality content, or maybe it's my channel that breaks it out, or somebody else's, whatever they connect with. Some people like my stuff, some people hate it. I don't care, as long as you're learning it, and get your basics down first. Get your EPA. Once you have your EPA, you're hireable just about anywhere, and then get a job, start working. And then if you realize, hey, I need to be, for me, I do better when somebody's in front of me. I go sit in the front row because I know that I don't want to offend this person. So I'm going to stay awake and write notes down and focus. So maybe they need that, but start somewhere getting interested in it. If you start watching videos, you watch my videos, Brianer's videos, Craig's videos, like all these other people's videos, and none of it interests you. I mean, maybe it's not, maybe it's not the right, if nothing interests you, maybe it's not the right, path.
Just say it, man. Just say it. You ain't one of us.
They might like Ty because
get away.
Craig's Italian. He talks with his hands too much, so.
Oh, and Chris with the HVACR videos for the commercial side. I mean, those videos are top notch, and you're right. You're live. You get I'm just talking about stuff, but he's out there doing it. Like you're seeing on the top of the rooftop, how to talk with customers. That is great content right there. That's true stuff. I think Chris is one of the best educators we got because he's showing it real stuff that I can't do. It takes you out and walk. I can't talk and walk and do work at the same time. I can barely walk and think at the same time.
He got me. I watched some of his videos. He got me working on a walk-in cooler. I was like, "Damn it, Chris! What you got me doing here?"
Thinking about his
evap,
content.
0 degrees in here, man. What was that, Chris?
Thinking about HVACR's content, man, I feel like he's really hitting the Gen Z market. I just got to say this time, I missed your Gen Z class at Brian's symposium, but I watched it like a week ago, and it was really good. And so, I would like to hear your thoughts on how do we connect to the Gen Z market.
It had way too many slides in it, though.
Yeah,
I agree. I didn't know that one was going to be there. No, I work with a major manufacturer who is one of my favorite manufacturers, and I love what they do. I love that we give classes we don't teach, but I hate the fact that we do PowerPoints. I've just gotten I got written up at a school because I wouldn't do PowerPoints. So I'm like, I go the other way. I've talked with Eric, and he does some really great balance of PowerPoints, but I'm like anti-PowerPoint at this point in my life. And I realized I really connect well with Gen Z as far as, the ADHD thing. It really works, keeping that. So now I'm trying to do content like less than 1 minute to keep people interested. And you'll see the YouTube Shorts, which are growing in popularity, TikTok, whether you like it or not. I mean, I did a video the other day at 200,000 views in just a few days. Where else can you get that kind of reaction for just some simple person like me.
Yeah, but
I mean,
I feel like it's a lot of people just drooling at a screen sitting on a toilet, though.
Maybe, but at least at least 200,000 people saw temperature and pressure.
I mean, dude, if I'm watching an HVAC video, I got to have at least 5 minutes. 30 seconds is ridiculous.
How many of you are watching this show on the toilet right now? Just be honest. Just give us a thumbs up if that's you. Unless you're scared to point.
Be one of the overtime
just to
guys.
let you know, if you're on Facebook, we won't know your name. So if you're weirded out, we're not going to know you are.
It's the only place where I feel like I could just be myself.
So yeah, a lot of people want to change education.
Bother me on there.
And we all like, well, the schools are doing it wrong. Let's make them change. You can't. I have found that you can't make people change, but you can inspire, and you can make the changes yourself. For example, that's great.
I knew there would be one.
Do what you can. So you have somebody that's interested in how to get it started in trades. So you're here getting information. Now you can give them information, multiple paths to get started. I'd say give them my playlist of how to get started in HVAC, because it's got all the different paths they can make their own choice. But all of us, anybody listening in, you can say, hey, I'm working with somebody, I can help them out. Or if you go to a fast food place and somebody's actually working hard and they don't have to do all those things, or cleaning the tables, give them a card and say, hey, if you're interested in learning about HVAC, give me a call, and then start presenting it to other people and sharing it. People that do yard work, whatever it is, say, hey, if you're interested in a career, and we start training that way, motivating people, being a mentor.
And one of the best guys I ever had came from cutting grass. Let me tell you what, guys who cut grass, they can take the heat. You know what I'm saying?
And I mean, Ty just brought up a really great point there. I talked to a guy one time, and one of his favorite ways to hire new people was at lunchtime in the diner. He would see whoever it was that was busting their ass and working their tail off, and he'd hand them a card and say, hey, if you ever want a job, call me. And he hired a lot of people out of there because he would look for hard workers. He said, I'll teach them the technical content. All I need is a hard worker and somebody that's willing to work. And he spotted people like that, and he had a knack for it.
You know what I was thinking about doing? I was thinking about training people in my area that know absolutely nothing.
Good.
And reaching out to 4 different companies and be like, I will take $5,000.
Good. If that works, let me know, because I'll move down there. We're gonna hang out.
If they'd came out good, I'd have been like, here's
be like $5,000. A boxer. I'm gonna be like, hey, I got a guy, he's really good, punching. I got another guy, he's got a good right hook. What do you want? I'm gonna be like an agent.
I know here by me, there is at least 3 companies I know of that have their own internal training programs, and they hire people with no education and they put them through training. Now, I don't know what the quality of that training is. I've never sat in it, but I know that they're doing it, and they're paying them to go through training.
I think that's the new way to go, man.
Michael,
I think that's the way.
I mean, is that much different than like Indeed or one of those headhunting and charging you a bunch of money to send somebody to you? I mean, it's working for them.
Yeah.
Sounds like one of Ty's favorite for-profit trade schools to me. I mean, just give me $5,000, I'll train him something.
And for everybody that's on the toilet watching tonight, in the description below, we're selling squatty potties. we get a 2%
sponsor of
cut.
The show. Sponsor of the show, Squatty Potty.
2% cut on that.
Two things on training.
Oh, I lost Eric. Oh, he's back. All right. Damn it.
The number one reason to train is obviously it's helping somebody else out. The second place, which is right up there with it, is you learn so much more by training somebody else. And I want to give a shout out. He's in the chat. JD Kelly, a student of HVAC. He's learning. He had a career he didn't like. He's getting into HVAC. He's learning it. But even he's in school learning, and he's making these pictures, these drawings to help other people understand it. And he's helping me because I can't do that stuff. And he's like, "Hey, is this correct?"
Guy with the really nice color.
Yeah,
bro. He's in school helping me out. He's helping other people out.
Dropping
this guy. I'm looking at his sequencer drawings. I'm like, where were you 10 years ago, brother?
Yeah, keep them coming. They look.
So
really
I'm just
good.
Drawing some stuff out. Like, hey, can you make this happen? And he's doing it, and he's helping.
An artiste.
He's in school and he's helping other people out, and he's learning more himself. He's like, hey,
he's
I
just Michelangelo of HVAC. That guy. I want to take one of his damn photos. I want to put that shit up on my wall. I love it.
Maybe he'll send you one, man. I'm sure he's going to send you
flyers
one
and posters.
Yeah,
loving
absolutely.
He's kicking ass, that guy.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
That is the show for tonight.
Oh, let's break through the fourth wall. Let's go to an hour 30. Come on, kids. Come on.
I wish, man.
No, I'm messing with you.
I'm
messing.
Ty, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate
having me. And like I said, I have a selfless plug playlist. How to get an HVAC.
Yeah. Look, send me a link, or let's throw it under the show notes somewhere. Let's
throw it in the grapevine, man. Come on.
Well, and I'm going to say this: if you don't want to be an HVAC technician, and you're somebody that's watching this that's new or whatever else, Ty has an awesome video about how many different things did you figure out in HVAC that people could do that were like just related to the HVAC field. All I remember is this giant whiteboard behind you filled to the brim. There's like scribbles sideways and in the corners. And I'm like, there's like 900 different things written on that board, but different positions and jobs in the HVAC field.
Ty, when this video goes on YouTube, just link all that.
Okay.
For sure.
Link it right.
I just got a playlist. It's one thing you can follow through. It helps people. The whole idea of it was to help people get in this trade and help people learn.
I think we did that tonight.
And you got an awesome dog, by the way.
The dog is cool.
There's somebody out there who we just changed the game for somebody. I'm gonna go to bed with my head on my pillow with a smile, knowing that we changed somebody's life tonight. That's all I'm saying.
Hey,
I
had a great time, by the way.
And for the one we didn't change the mind of, let me tell you what. Quit doing Google searching and believe in the whole, like, you're only going to make $50,000 in this trade and that is it.
Sky's the limit, baby.
And if you're writing those articles, the hell with you. If we find you, we will find you and we will beat you. Stop doing it.
Move to Claremont. We're going to do MTV. We're going to call it. Oh, there's my dog.
It's Chica. What's up, Chica?
She misses me. All right, Daddy's coming to pick you up now. That dog killed the show at the symposium.
Yeah, it's gonna have its own show soon.
Well, next year.
Looks like Chica's ready for a nap.
She's been running and playing.
It's like sleepy time. Let's go, Dad.
When you brought her home from the symposium, she was like, where's all my attention? What are you guys doing? Right? Yeah, I knew it.
She got to hang out in Louisiana with a basset hound. She probably loved that. All right, everybody.
Hey, man.
See y'all next week.
Ty. Thanks for coming, brother.
Thank you.